You can find this podcast and others at Gun Rights Radio Network, gunrightsradio.com. Podcasting freedom.
Hello and welcome to what I believe is episode 56 of Shooting the Breeze, the formal gun podcast of WaltInPA.com. I am Walt White, and this episode is kind of... I'm not even quite sure what to call it. A couple of weeks ago, I recorded two videos really close to one another. The first video went out not very long ago, or the first podcast went out not very long ago. It covered the Liberty Match at Valley Forge. And then in the second part of the podcast, it was sort of a recap of events, since the event was already over. It was dark by the time I had left, so I wasn't able to record a wrap-up when I left, so I did it a little time later. And when I posted that on WaltInPA, I made a note in the blog post that I had another video that was very similar, and I was going to be posting it because, you know, it's just things have been really slow lately, and I wanted to post something rather than nothing. And I got that podcast together, and I didn't upload it. I just didn't feel like there was enough substance there. I wasn't tremendously thrilled with the podcast that I did surrounding the Liberty Match. You know, I had a good time. It was an informative event. It was interesting. I learned a lot from it, but you know, there just wasn't enough oomph behind it. And when it came time to release a podcast that was very similar and even narrower in approach, I thought, you know, it's probably best that I don't release anything and then I just kind of add on to it. So that is the objective here. What I'm going to do is record a little bit of a side thing, and then we'll tack on what I was going to post onto this one, and then maybe we'll have, you know, a half podcast of sorts. And you know, we'll go that way. We'll see how it turns out. Ideally, I would like to do more of these, but it seems like the only time I can do any sort of recording anymore is when I'm in my car. And now that it's winter, or it's all but winter, it's 4 o'clock and the sun's going down, so I don't have a whole lot of recording time available. I'll just need to find creative ways to put little bits of podcasts together. So before I got in the car, I read a news article, which I will tack on momentarily, that I wanted to discuss a little bit. It was a news article that came out of the Philadelphia suburbs. It was like phillyburbs.com or something like that. And, you know, on the surface, there really wasn't a whole lot to it. There wasn't a whole lot to discuss, and then I posted it on Facebook, and there was a comment that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and now I feel compelled to not necessarily answer or respond to that comment, but just kind of, I don't know, spew my thoughts to the world on the matter. So, here is that news article from Philly Burbs. This one comes from phillyburbs.com, and it goes on to say, Franconia woman gets probation for gun purchase. A Franconia woman will be under court supervision for the next 5 years for purchasing a handgun for a male companion. Denelle, it's D-E-N-I-E-L-L-E, I'm assuming that's Denelle, Wolf, 23, of the 400 block of Allentown Road, last week received a 5-year probation sentence for lying on the paperwork she filled out to purchase the weapon. As a condition of her probation, Wolf must perform 20 hours of community service. State police were advised of the purchase on March 7, 2011, by an employee at the American Arms and Ammo store in Hatfield Township. The employee became suspicious after observing a man who accompanied Wolf to the store taking photos of other guns that were on display. The employee also thought it was unusual for a small young woman to be purchasing such a large, powerful handgun as the Taurus Model 24-7 45 caliber pistol that she had selected. When police arrived, the transaction was complete and the couple had left the store. Police went to the address on the paperwork and saw the couple in the backyard. A short time later, a car pulled into the driveway and Jaleel Cole, the man identified as accompanying Wolf at the store, got into the car carrying a white bag. Police took Cole, 20, into custody after the car pulled into a driveway in Lower Salford Township, or Lower Salford. They found the fully loaded handgun under the front passenger seat where Cole had been sitting, according to the criminal complaint. Wolf later gave police a statement admitting she had purchased a gun for Cole, who was under 21, the legal age to purchase a gun or secure a permit for one. Cole allegedly told her which gun to buy, gave her the money for it, and took it with him when he left her residence. The complaint said, Wolf told police. Cole, now 21, of the 200 block of Parkview Drive, was found guilty in a trial by judge of possessing a gun without a license and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 1 to 5 years in prison. So, the significance of this news article is a comment I received on the Walton, PA Facebook page. Basically, all I did was I took the link for that news article, I plopped it on the Facebook page, and I asked the question, does anything seem odd to you? Now, I think there were 4 or 5 responses, and the first 4, or whatever it was, all but the last response, touched on something that I found kind of odd. I believe the first response was, did the police have probable cause to pull the guy over just because they suspected that he had a gun in the vehicle? The second one was something along the lines of, little girl buying a big gun, obviously she had to be up to no good. Obviously it wasn't for her. Sarcasm, of course. There was something else along the lines of reasonable suspicion on the count of the police, and there was one other comment. All of them, there was one comment on the sentencing that seemed kind of odd, and then the last comment was talking about it was kind of long, and the end is the only part that really kind of grated on my nerves a little bit, and it was something along the lines of, 2 criminals are off the streets, thanks to these police officers, maybe we should be grateful instead of second-guessing them. And, obviously there's more to the news story, we just don't know about it, and, some other things that just kind of annoyed me slightly. So, I wanted to kind of focus on that little end bit, because it was the reason why I didn't respond, and I really wanted to respond, that I disagreed and lay out my opinion on why. However, the issue became, how do I respond without looking like a dick, for lack of a better term? And the difficulty was, how do I respond without looking like some form of cop basher, which I'm not. I just have a view of police that some other people apparently don't share, and that is, it's not that I dislike them or distrust them or anything like that. It's that I don't put police on a pedestal. I hold them to the same standards that I hold everyone else to. I don't think that they deserve a free pass for anything that they do, and they're people just like you and me, and they should be treated as such. They shouldn't be afforded special privileges. And that hearing that, is probably going to rub some people the wrong way, and they're going to tell me that the police are good for society, and they protect and serve, and they're fantastic people, and we should stop second guessing them and just kind of give them free rein. And that's all fine and good. It's perfectly okay if that's your opinion. However, I don't see the world that way, and I don't believe in giving any organization the carte blanche to do whatever they want and sort of make things up as they go along. And the issue with the news article was that, based on the news article and nothing else, which it's probably a bad way to look at it. However, that's the only information that I was given, or that I have. So that's the only thing we can analyze. I mean, we can speculate a little bit one way or the other. However, I'm just finding it very difficult in that news article to find reasonable suspicion for the police to have pulled over that individual. So, just to kind of break down the events, it starts off with a woman and a male companion walking into a gun shop. While they're in the gun shop, the male companion is taking photos of guns in the cases, and it alerts the spidey senses of the gun store employee. And in addition, the woman decides to purchase a .45 ACP, which apparently we all know is that's no good for a tiny woman. It's obviously for someone else. And I'm sure that there were other things that struck the employee as odd, but for whatever reason, he completed the sale and he allowed those individuals to leave the store with a firearm, despite him not being comfortable with the whole ordeal. Now, there was a comment that, it's what choice did the gun store employee have? He would get fired for poor customer service if he had refused to sell the gun, or he could have been stereotyping the woman for or what's that word? I'm drawing a blank. Profiling, or I don't know the word I'm looking for, but he could be targeting the woman and stereotyping and whatever word that I can't think of at the moment. That's killing me. But the issue is that, or at least in my mind, I mean, that whole thought process is absurd. If there's an FFL that's selling a gun and he doesn't believe that the person is being truthful in the paperwork, or if he feels odd at all, if he's got bad feelings, he just simply put, they should not complete the sale. It's just that cut and dry. And if he gets in trouble for that, or if they get in trouble for doing that, you really have to play it by ear. I mean, he's already putting a label on the woman by saying that he's suspicious because she's buying a .45. So, I mean, he's not going much further if he just flat out doesn't sell the gun to her. And let's look at it the other way. If the purchase does go through, they get away with the gun. She hands over the gun to the real buyer, or the guy that wanted it, that couldn't purchase it in the first place. And a crime is committed. People die. People are injured. Big mass shooting. And the news gets word that this employee allowed that gun to go through despite his concerns. What do you think's going to be worse for the shop? That one upset customer that felt as though they were being disrespected because the shop employee wouldn't sell them the gun because he was suspicious? Or the fact that now the public is being informed that such and such a gun shop allowed such and such a purchase to go through, and now people, multiple people are injured and or dead. It's a coin toss. Either way, it's not good. And what it boils down to is, if there is any confusion or any concern on behalf of the person actually selling the gun, then you just shouldn't complete the sale. So we kind of cross that one completely off the list. And then look even further. So the police arrive after the individuals leave the store, and now they have to go track them down. So they retrieve the paperwork they retrieve the information from the paperwork, and they go to the individual's home. Now they're monitoring the home for an unspecified amount of time, and a vehicle pulls up. The suspect comes out of the home, gets in the vehicle. He's carrying a bag with him. So they proceed to follow the individual to another place, pull him over, detain him, search his vehicle, find the gun, and complete the arrest. Okay, he shouldn't have had the gun. He's going to do his time for that. The woman shouldn't have sold the gun, and the woman shouldn't have been the straw buyer in this case. But that still doesn't change the fact that I think that there was not enough reasonable suspicion to pull them over, or to proceed with everything that happened based solely on the opinion of the gun shop employee when he found it odd that this small woman was purchasing a .45. I mean, that's so her caliber choice was suspect enough to get a label pinned on her as potential straw buyer. So it just seems strange that everything sort of happened based on this one person's opinion, when in fact, if he was that concerned, he could have stopped the entire transaction from happening, or at least washed his hands of it and made, the owner or whomever else was in the store complete the sale, or reanalyze the whole situation. So even though the criminal wound up off the streets, or 1 to 5 years in prison and 5 years of probation, it still kind of rubs me the wrong way that it doesn't appear as though proper protocol was followed. And that's where the whole "you should be grateful and shouldn't be second guessing the police" comes into play. It's not that I don't appreciate what they do. It's just that what happens if this case gets thrown out because they weren't following proper protocol and they had no reason to follow them, and everything kind of falls apart from here? Or better yet, what happens if after they pull the suspect over, they don't have the gun? What happens at that point? Sorry, sir, for detaining you. Sorry, sir, for searching your vehicle. Sorry, sir, for monitoring your home and following you. That just doesn't look good. So while it's good that the arrest was made, the whole how it happened just kind of seems fishy to me. And, granted, there's probably more out there than what I know. And obviously, there's more out there than what I know. But based solely on that news article, it makes me speculate that, something just doesn't seem right. And, I don't know, maybe that makes me a cop basher. But I don't know. I don't think I am. But then again, I have been told by police officers that I just wouldn't understand because I'm not a cop. And, I find that rather disrespectful. But that's kind of neither here nor there, and another story altogether. Alright, well, we've got a little bit of daylight left, a little bit of trip left, so let's get a featured content piece in there for you. We've done the news, and then we'll do one piece of featured content. Maybe we'll even have enough time to eke out a little cigar and drink pairing, and then we'll close out the podcast on the previously recorded piece. So, the featured content stuff. Recently, not terribly recently, but it's been a while since I've done this. Ron from over at When the Balloon Goes Up has launched an online store for everyday carry gear, preparedness gear, and just miscellaneous gun stuff. And he's got a fairly limited inventory. However, some of the stuff that he's got it's pretty good. He's got a lot of variety, and his prices are pretty competitive as well. Over the weekend, actually, he did a Black Friday sale, and he took advantage of 2 of the sale coupons. He had set up so that you were getting 20% off certain items on this day, 15% on this day, 20% on this day, 20% on this day, from Friday through Sunday, or something like that. So I picked up an Apex trigger kit. Duty enhancement kit for my Smith & Wesson M&P, and then this morning, when the other coupon was available, I ordered Glock decal grips. They're like pre-cut like skate tape pieces that you can put on the grip panels on your Glock, or you can put on the decal frames of your Glock. I was going to get a set for my Glock 19 as well. However, the Gen 4 Glock 19s are pretty aggressively, they're fairly aggressively textured, so I wasn't too worried about grip there. It's just that my Gen 3 Glock 17 has been Duracoated, and had I known that it was going to make the gun less grippy and actually a little slick, I would not have had the frame Duracoated. So this hopefully will alleviate the little bit of a smoothness from the Duracoat on my Glock. But head on over to When the Balloon Goes Up. Now take a look around at the the online shop and put in a purchase. Ron has been fantastic. Everyone I talked to that has made a purchase from him, he's turned the items around really fast. He's shipping stuff same day, sometimes like within an hour or two of orders, I'm hearing. And in addition to getting a deal with those Black Friday specials, he even contacted me ahead of time asking if I was going to use any of the other coupons, because I had told him I might, and he held the order so that I could get everything for one flat rate of shipping, which I thought was fantastic. Tremendous customer service there. So head on over to When the Balloon Goes Up and check out Ron's online store. Hey, Walt here from WaltInPA.com with another Shooting the Breeze sort of mini podcast, the formal gun podcast of WaltInPA.com. I am just now leaving New Holland Rifle and Pistol Club for their monthly IDPA match. I was here a couple of months ago maybe for the 2012 Contagion match, which is a big zombie-themed sort of fun shoot with competition mixed in, but it's not heavily competition oriented. So I was able to get out and see the facilities as I was attending that particular match. I was there as a member of the staff. I volunteered to help. So I got a little bit of a feel for what the club was, and the match directors, Mark and Annette, are regulars at the Lower Providence Rod and Gun Club USPSA match that I shoot. So I thought I would come down here, support them, support their club, and check out their IDPA club now that USPSA is more or less has wound down for the season for the most part. So I arrived. It is a bit colder than I anticipated. Now I understand why USPSA sort of wusses out and doesn't shoot in the winter, because it gets kind of chilly, and it can become cumbersome reaching for your gun, drawing your gun, getting magazines with all of that, with all the bulk on you. I'm wearing 3 shirts plus my IDPA vest, and then I was wearing a jacket on top of all of that, just to keep warm from stage to stage. When it was time to shoot, I would take my jacket off and leave the vest on, but it's kind of bulky having these layers on to shoot IDPA in the winter months. I'll have to revamp my cold weather system for later on, because it's really not even all that cold. It's probably down in the high 40s, low 50s, I would imagine. So it's a little mild for Pennsylvania, and it's nothing uncommon for this time of year. So it's just a matter of making it all work. So how did I do throughout the match? We started out on Bay 1, and my squad won Bay 1, and I decided to use my Glock 17, with the USPSA mindset of get in there and get it done fast. And I bombed the first stage. We were seated with a box beside us. We were to flip the lid open on the box, grab the gun, engage 2 targets directly in front of us from the seated position, get up and
turn left onto Division Highway.
Get up and move from the seated position to this other position near Bianchi Barricade while engaging a 3rd target, reload behind the barricade, and then run forward to engage 2 targets behind barrels, which were tucked down behind the barrels. So, easy enough stage, buzzer goes off, grab the gun, start shooting, shooting nice and fast, way too fast for my first stage of the day. Actually, way too fast in general. My fingers were kind of cold, my hands were kind of cold, and I didn't have the dexterity which I had hoped that I would.
Turn left onto Division Highway, then turn right onto Springville Road.
My apologies for all the noise. It's I have no idea how to get to this club without a GPS, and now I've got to find my way home. obviously with the GPS. So bear with me as we make this happen. So anyway, I start shooting, my hands are kind of cold, my shots are going all over the place. It was just kind of one of those moments where I just wanted to shoot fast. So I drew the gun, I was down a lot of points on those 2 targets. I think I had one shot that was just outside of the outside perimeter perf, and I got hit with a mic, or missed there. I didn't do too bad on the target, on the move. That was kind of easy enough, it was fairly close. And then after that, I started reloading behind the Bianchi barricade, and I ran out to engage those last 2 targets. But when I did that, I didn't have the magazine fully seated, and I was whacked for a procedural error. Not quite. I think it's 3 seconds. So that kind of hurt. My time of like 13 seconds on this stage was good. But by the time you tackle on all the points that I was down...
In 7.3 miles, turn left onto Morgantown Expressway.
But, wow, where's it taking me? But anyway, by the time that my initial time was pretty good. But by the time you added up my points down and that procedural error, it was just incredibly high and just piss poor stage. And I can tell you right now, not match related, but this GPS is really going to become a problem because it's distracting me. But we're going to do our best anyhow. And the odd thing is, this GPS it's the built-in GPS functionality of iOS 06 for the Apple iPhone. I have the 4G or the 4S. And on my way to the club, a little side story here, I was getting close to the club, and the GPS tells me, okay, prepare to park so that you can walk the remaining distance to your destination. And I'm thinking, oh great, it's getting to the point now where we're getting deep into the registration process. I don't have a whole lot of time before it closes and people get started. I was maybe what I assumed was 10 minutes away from the club. It was, I think, 9:30. Registration closed at 10 or something like that. Or, I don't remember. But at any rate, I had like 20 minutes, and I was still 5-10 minutes away. And I was a little concerned about getting there on time, and then suddenly my GPS is telling me, you pull over and walk the rest of the way. So I was a little worried I was going to have to open up a different navigation map, try to figure out my way, however I was going to get there. And it worked out that where they wanted me to park and walk in was maybe 1/10 of a mile from the actual gateway or the entranceway to the club. So it all worked out. On the way home, however, I have no idea which way this GPS is taking me. It's mentioned Morgantown Expressway. That's certainly not the way I came in. I know what the Morgantown Expressway is, but I thought there was a much quicker way to get here than that. But the beauty of GPS. So anyway, we shot that stage. Miserable, decent raw time, but after you tack on all my penalties and such, it was a miserable time. Then we move along to stage 2, which had you starting in the middle of the bay. There were 2 targets directly in front of you. Your objective was to draw the gun and engage those 2 targets while moving to cover. There were targets on either side of the bay. So you had to choose whether you were going to go left to cover or right to cover. I chose to go left to cover. Around cover, I engaged a piece of steel which activated a drop turner, and then there was one other piece of paper in that array system. And I opted to shoot the steel and then quickly the other piece of paper before the drop turner showed. Easy enough. I hit the steel, engaged the other piece of paper. The very slow drop turner makes its appearance. I shoot it, and then I decide to do a tactical reload before I run to the far side, which has a swinger, a piece of steel, and another piece of paper. So it's sort of like mirrored, except for instead of a drop turner, it is a swinger. So I get the magazine in, or I get the old magazine out, I get it in a pocket, I get the new magazine in the gun, and I take off. As I'm running, I hit the magazine, or the slide release lever, and I put the gun in the battery. 2 or 3 steps away from cover. So I got whacked for another procedural error for leaving cover without a loaded gun, essentially. I thought that as long as I engaged those targets, I was okay. Those middle targets, as I would be crossing back over, but apparently not, and I got whacked again. Not a big deal, but my time was pretty good. My points down were decent, but that procedural error kind of sucked. I wasn't real happy about it, but it was my mistake. I should have known better, or I should have known, and then that was stage 2. Stage 3 was, I believe, it was like a standards drill. It was made up of 2 targets and 6 strings. 5 strings consisted of you drawing and firing 1 shot on a target roughly 7 yards away. And I thought I was going to be grossly unprepared for it because I haven't been doing dry fire practice in quite a while. And as it turns out, it was a good indication of what your average single shot on a 7-yard target is, and I think I'm at about, it was like 1.49 seconds, 1.48 seconds, 1.47 seconds. It was right around the area that I was for breaking that first shot. I think I was down 2 points on that target, 5 strings, 1 shot per string. And then we moved over, and the 6th string was starting close to a target, drawing and firing 5 shots while retreating. The target was, bad breath distance away. So as long as you could pull the trigger fast, you could have all 5 rounds released before you took 2 steps, which is exactly what I did. And my time was 2 seconds or something like that, 2 point something. So all in all, good solid stage on both parts there. It wasn't good enough to make up for the damage that I had done earlier on, but it was a good positive start. It felt like I got those other stages behind me, and now I was sort of moving in a more positive direction. Stage 4 had us kneeling in front of a bench. Hands on the bench at the buzzer, draw your gun and fire at, I believe, 6 targets, 3 rounds per on these 6 targets. I think it was 6. And my time was pretty good there. I wasn't down very many points, and it was kind of funny because when I shot the stage, my first thought was, wow, this was pretty slow. I didn't do very well on this stage at all, and I'm down like 2 or 3 points over all of these targets. And I had someone come up behind me and say, oh, that was really good. You beat me by so many seconds. And it was another shooter that I respected and that I thought shot pretty well. But as it turns out, I shot it faster than him and not nearly as fast as I thought it should have been shot. So it just kind of felt slow. The other thing, along that array, I felt like I pulled a shot. It was down low, and I was kind of afraid to make up the shot because of where it was. It was the last shot before a slide lock reload, so it was kind of weird, and I decided just to let it go. And I felt that I felt that it would take me longer to make up the shot than I would to just take the penalty. So I took the penalty for the point down or whatever it was. I think I just barely made it was 1 point down, but I don't have the score sheets and I didn't take a picture this time, so I'll have to wait until they're posted before I know for sure. Then there was stages 5 and 6, which were combined on a single bay, which was kind of interesting. Both stages had you starting with 5 rounds in the magazine. The first stage, you were pretty close to 2 targets. You were to draw, engage those 2 targets with 2 rounds, and then you had to reach out and touch a mini popper, which was, maybe 25 yards away. That was kind of fun. The twist on that stage was that there was a stage gun available. If you missed the steel, you had the option of either reloading your pistol and engaging the steel again to knock it down, or you could pick up a shotgun that was available, load it, and use the shotgun to engage that piece of steel. I didn't need to use. I completed the stage in 5 steps. Had I missed that piece of steel with that 5th round, I probably would have reloaded the pistol. Just because I feel like I can run a pistol faster than I can run a shotgun. I've got very little experience with it. But one guy who had very little shotgun experience had that gun up and running in blazing fast. Probably much faster than he could have reloaded that pistol. So that was kind of impressive. The last stage had us starting in the same position.
Turn left onto Morgantown Expressway.
And then from there, we drew the gun and engaged these two targets on the move. And then we lean around a barricade and put one round in the head of a target with a hostage target really close to it. So that was the IDPA match at New Holland Rod and Gun Club. My general opinion of the match was I was a bit disappointed. The stages were enjoyable, but it was missing something. There's always, in my very limited experience with IDPA, there is always at least one stage at a given club that I really like, and I wish I could shoot it 2, 3, 4, 5 more times before we're done. And I didn't have that at New Holland. There was what I felt as though was a safety issue on the second stage of the day in Bay 2. We were shooting the steel poppers that activated both the drop turner and the swinger were really close. I didn't get out a tape measure, but I would be willing to bet that those steel targets were less than 10 yards, which I think is the IDPA minimum, and I'd be willing to bet that they were even closer than 7 yards, 7 or better, 7 or closer. They were really close. I kind of voiced my concern to people in my squad, but
turn right onto North Red School Road.
No one seemed to be too concerned about it. Easy enough. I mean, the steel is so close that it's difficult to miss on that first shot. But it wasn't a competitive issue. It was more of a safety issue. I didn't want to see anyone get smacked with a ricochet or something because of how close we were. But everyone made it out okay. No one got hurt, and I don't think there were any ricochets. At least nothing close to anyone that was shooting. No one got hit with splatter or anything like that. So we discussed the safety issue, my not really falling in love with any of the stages, and the only other real downside that
turn right onto North Red School Road
that I had with the match.
Turn right onto North Red School Road.
What? The only other downside of the match was the round count. I think it was about 68 rounds. And, I'm one of those people that I look at the overall round count and then I compare it to the registration fee that I'm paying. So 68 rounds, I'm paying $15 and I'm shooting 6 stages. The value just wasn't there. I didn't feel like I was getting my money's worth. I'm definitely going to go back and shoot the club again. I hear good things about it. Maybe it was just because that there was a secondary match going on, which was a backup gun match, so a bug match. So, maybe the stages were built a certain way to accommodate the backup gun shooters.
3/4 of a mile. Turn left onto Shiloh Road.
But whatever the case was, I just really wasn't feeling this match. The stages really didn't grab my attention and make me want to shoot them more. So, all in all, it was a good, solid match. It was what someone referred to as traditional IDPA while we were there. But good match. I'll definitely shoot it again. I want to see, what else the club has to offer. Because now that
turn left onto Shiloh Road.
This thing is annoying. But at any rate, I lost my train of thought again. Now that winter is here, USPSA is pretty much shut down in the area, and now I need to start venturing out and getting to more clubs for IDPA. One of the clubs that I am most definitely going to be shooting more frequently is Onalani. They had a good high round count, lots of stages. I think the one that I shot a couple of weeks ago was 8 stages and 120 rounds. So I felt really good about that match. I felt like I got my money's worth, and I was genuinely happy to have shot it.
Shiloh Road.
Whereas this one, we were looking at a lot less rounds. So that's kind of where we are.
2.2 miles. Turn left onto Morgantown Road.
But there is, I guess this is going to be I don't know whether this is going to be part of a full podcast or if this is just going to be a podcast in and of itself, which I think there's a very good possibility for that. But if not, I'll be back to do more. If not, this is where we're going to close it out. And that is, I want to thank you for checking out the Shooting the Breeze podcast, the formal gun podcast of WaltInPA.com. I'd appreciate it if you could head over to Facebook.com/WaltInPA and give me a like. I'm also on Twitter as @WaltW, as well as @WaltInPA. You could follow me on both accounts, and you'll get all the little updates that I do to the blog and the various other things. Oh, another thing that I've been doing, which seems to be getting some traction, is a discussion topic on Facebook. And the reason I'm doing it on Facebook and not all the other social media outlets is that Facebook allows you to do large comments, so you're not limited to 140 characters on Twitter, and people can really voice their opinions. Things have been going really well on that, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to get a new discussion topic out, every day or every other day, however it works out. So head on over to Facebook.com/WaltInPA and check out, those discussion topics. Give me a like while you're at it. And I think that's going to close it out. So until next time, thanks for watching and take it easy. One of the things that I like to do with this podcast, each and every time I put one out, is a little side topic on a cigar, to do a cigar and drink pairing. And I kind of forgot about it this time, so I want to kind of tack this one at the end and do it now. So I've turned the GPS off because it wants me to go... It wants me to take a road where there's some major construction going on, and I don't want to go that way. So I turned the GPS off, and now we should have interrupted quality cigar time at the moment. So, the cigar that I'm smoking is the AJ Fernandez San Lotano Oval Maduro. This cigar came out at the IPCPR convention this past year, out in August, and it was a cigar that I was kind of interested in. The standard Oval line is a little pricey, and it is what I kind of think of as the more premium San Lotano line. AJ Fernandez makes a couple different San Lotanos. There's a Habano, Connecticut, and a Maduro, all of which are good. But there was a later release in the Oval, and it was a much bolder cigar, had more power, more flavor, and it just seemed to have much more depth. And the cigars wound up being like $3 or $4 more per single than the traditional San Lotano lines. Those 3 other San Lotano lines. So I really enjoyed that cigar, and when I learned about the Oval Maduro at IPCPR, I was really eager to give it a try. I was handed one at the trade show, and I smoked it pretty much right away. It was still kind of early in the show. I didn't feel like my palate was beaten up or anything, and I absolutely loved it. I still think it is one of the best cigars to come out of IPCPR. It is probably very closely rivaled to the Oliva Serie V Melanio, but that's personal preference, and I enjoy that cigar a lot too. But so arguably those 2 cigars are my absolute favorites out of IPCPR, and this San Lotano Oval Maduro just has big, bold flavors. It has everything that the standard Oval has, only it has a little bit of a bitterness to it. It has a sort of a creamy, dark, just earthy flavor that the Maduro wrapper brings out that didn't exist in the standard Oval lineup. So what you wind up with is a cigar that I think is fantastic. It's bold, it's powerful, it's got rich flavors. There's nuance to it. It just has everything that a fantastic cigar should have. Again, in my opinion. So, easily one of my favorite cigars of the year. A little pricey. I think I paid about $9 and change at Cigars International yesterday at their grand opening event, and I think it's well worth the money. I would most definitely spend another $9 and change on this cigar. I think you're getting your money's worth. It's full-bodied. It coats the palate well. It's nice and thick. It has a heavy finish. The flavors are really interesting. There's this a little bit of a sort of a bitter chocolate. There's an earthy flavor. There's a bit of spiciness. There's a little bit of pepper. I even get a little bit of a sort of a salty feel on the tongue. just combine all that stuff and flavors moving in and out. I just think it makes for a tremendous cigar. If you're a full-bodied cigar smoker, you should most definitely try the San Lotano Oval Maduro. I really don't think you will be disappointed in it. They can be purchased from a variety of places, but my suggested place to purchase them would be Buckhead Cigar in Atlanta, Georgia. Mike is a friend of mine. I like, one of the reasons I like going to IPCPR is because I get to see Mike down in, you know, whatever city we're in. So I got to hang out with him a little bit in Orlando. In years past, I hung out with him in New Orleans, and just a good guy. You know, my favorite retailer. He's also a gun guy, which makes everything so much nicer. You know, because he's into the cigar scene, he's into the gun scene, and he's just a good guy overall. If you're interested in purchasing cigars through Mike, you know, if I've talked him up enough to get you interested in making a purchase, you can do so in a variety of ways. The easiest thing to do would be head over to AskTheCigarGuys.com. It is not a retail website. It is just a listing of all of the pricing that Mike has currently. You know, cigars that he has on specials, new product, things like that. And cigars are listed in 5-packs and boxes. Shipping is included in those prices, so what you see is what you pay, and that's one of the things that I appreciate about Mike. And if you're ordering out of state, you're not paying sales tax anyway, so that's always nice too. But or maybe you are. I don't know. I never noticed because I always make a phone order. If you just want to if you want to get a feel for Mike and talk to him a little bit, he's on social media outlets as far as Twitter and Facebook go. Twitter is @Buckhead Cigar. Facebook is Buckhead Cigar. He's also on Google Plus. You can look him up there, and talk to Mike a little bit. If he impresses you, you like his selection, you like his prices, put an order in and let him know that Walt sent you. So that now is going to close out the podcast because I don't have anything else to tack on along with it. So, hey, not to sound like a broken record, but bye for real this time. So until next time, stay safe, have fun shooting, and I will catch you later.
You can hear Gun Rights Radio Network on Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to your favorite shows directly from your iPhone, Android phone, BlackBerry, or Palm phones, on demand and on the go. Don't have Stitcher? Download it for free today at Stitcher.com or in the app stores. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio. Gun Rights Radio Network shows can be found under Sources.